Hi, everybody. My name is Sophie Walker. This is Kit Alexander, and we've been away for a while. We have still been doing all the articles for the European Tour Fantasy, so make sure you always check that out online. For those of you that play the game, you'll get your email. We've been busy, haven't we, Kit? That's why. And you're poorly, aren't you?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, a little bit under the weather. Just got a bit of a scratchy throat. Might sound a bit more like Barry White today, maybe talking, and a little bit as a whole. I know you're covering the Aramco this week as well in New York, so you're got a bit of focus on the ladies' game, the LPGA, LET this week. Yeah, but we're sort of the season's winding down, but it's still very, very busy, obviously. And this week, Valderrama.
I know. It's just made me think that golf just doesn't stop. There's not a season, is it? It is just every single week, which, like you say, with a few more to go, it gives players opportunities. I think now Ryder Cup's over. It's now very much race to Dubai, isn't it? And yes, now the Ryder Cup's over, we're going back to a 1997 venue of Valderrama. Now, I'm going to flex a bit here, Kit. Have you played it?
Been there, not played it. Oh, I'm sure you have. Tell us about Valderrama.
Oh, I played it. Yeah. Actually, I was down in Sotogrande 2 weeks ago and drove past it. So I played La Reserva, San Roque, and Finca Cortesine, where the Solheim Cup is. And I'm like, I want to go. So yeah, I have played it. It's unbelievable. Everything that you want and more. It's just that it oozes Sevi. Everywhere you go, it's like you see a spirit around. It's an incredible place. It is hard. That's the first question anyone says to me. Is it really that hard? Yes, it really is. It's not about just hitting a fairway. It's hitting the right part of the fairway. It's not about hitting the green. It's hitting the right part of the green. The greens are small, need a good short game. Basically, you need to be Sergio Garcia. He's won, is it 3 times round here? Imagine the perfect golfer for that place, and it's Sergio. Now, he's not in the field this week, but we've got to look for that type of player, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. It's all about accuracy here. Bombers, any length is totally negated. It's par 71, just the 3 par 5s, but you can't overpower the course. You simply can't. You describe exactly what you have to do there, the challenge. You've got to hit the right bits of fairways, right bits of greens, and inevitably, with it being, if you get out of position, you can't always recover, and you are likely to miss more greens than normal, perhaps because they're smaller. Like you say, the scrambling, much more of an emphasis on that. So for me, it's not that a bomber can't win it or can't do well, but they have to find a different way of doing it at Valderrama. So I think accuracy off the tee, greens in regulation, and scrambling ability are the real 3 key markers that I've looked at when statistically looking at the team I'm going to pick. Obviously, you need to hole putts to win as well. But the chances are, if you've got a birdie putt, on average, there'll be a birdie putt than you would on most courses because the greens are smaller. So yeah, that's my kind of recipe for success, which I think by the sounds of it is going to be very similar to yours. So we'll see if we come up with the same sort of players. And it is worth noting that if you're looking at previous course form as well, Valderrama, loads and loads of history. It's hosted this event from 2017 to 2020, and it also hosted the Spanish Open in 2016, the year before. So we've got sort of, 5 years of it being back on the schedule every year for the last 5 years to go on. So there's a bit of statistical data there. It is one of those courses where you know what you're going to get. It should, in theory, be relatively straightforward to pinpoint the guys that like it, the guys that don't, and who's going to suit it coming in there when they've not played it a lot. That being said, who are you going for, Soph?
Right. I do think there's you've got to love Valderrama. I do. It's my type of course, but like you say, I'm straight. I'm not that long. So I like to go with the players that have got that type of feeling as well. So when I did my picks this week for our 3 fantasy, I mean, you've got to put John Rahm in. Is world number 1. It's like it's a given. He's good at everything. You wouldn't probably say that, oh, wow, this is exactly John Rahm's golf course, but not anything's John Rahm's golf course when he's world number 1. And I think he he would have been disappointed last week. He started really well. I didn't watch too much of the weekend, and to be honest, he ended up not being on it, didn't he? Maybe the crowds, like that, everything just kind of just was a bit too much for him because, it was really emphatic, the amount of people that went to watch. But I think he'll do well this week. This is the venue that his dad went to watch the Ryder Cup in 1997. This is what got his dad into golf, and obviously then got John into golf. It means a hell of a lot to him, Valderrama. So I can see him going well. Kind of obvious, I know. Mateo Schwab is another one, a player that I backed quite heavily, kind of early, middle of the season. In fact, when I started to not back him, he started to do really well. He's had 5 top 10s this year. I would call him Mr. Consistent. He's 10th in stroke average. He's 10th in bogey avoidance, which is that same type of thing that you're talking about there. He doesn't putt great. That's my only thing with him. But then saying that, that's probably the only reason he's not won, because his putting isn't amazing. Beef, I put him in as well. Put him in last week. Went with him again this week. He's won round Valderrama. He's pretty accurate off the tee. 13th in driving accuracy. Has obviously got good feelings around this course also. He only makes 2 bogeys around his average. He's not played loads this year, but when he has, he's done all right. He needs quite a decent last few weeks as well. He's 75th on the race to Dubai, so he wants to get in to Dubai. And then kind of going, I'm not going to go into yours, but I'm still thinking the similar to your 3, but the one that I kind of would always think, you've got to put him in, is a John Catlin. He's not played great though, has he? Have you been watching him much in that sense? Because he won this when it was really hard. I think it was over par when he won it. He's got this like 2 iron that he can just, I watched him quite a lot around Northern Ireland. He plays a golf course totally different to like most people in the field. He'll quite happily hit 4 iron, 6 iron into a par 4 if that's what he feels comfortable with, if that's what keeps him out of trouble, which on some courses obviously that is not going to work, but round Valderrama it is. My only problem is his form. Another one that I quite like the look of is Richie Ramsey. He's got his coach Ian Ray out with him this week. Going steady, but I always like it on Twitter when he says, I really like this golf course. No surprises, there's some decent results there. He hits a lot of fairways as well, so that's the type of player I'm looking at. You go for yours, because I think, as I said, like you said earlier, I think we're going to have a bit of consistency. What I would say, everybody, is Kit is on the cheeseburger bandwagon.
I am. I'm on him. I'm on Burn this week. I've been resisting it most of the year. I'm always umming and ahhing about him, but I'm fully in on him. So Rahm, of course, as you said, and then the 3 I've put up on the European Tour fantasy picks this week. Bernd Wiesberger, 3 top 20s in his last 4 starts, tied 12th last week. That runner-up finish at Cran-sur-Sierre, which, the double bogey at the end was a bit heartbreaking. He did chuck it away. But it's a relatively similar strategic test, Cran-sur-Sierre up there in the Swiss mountains. So I like that he's shown form there. Statistically, he suits it quite well. He's 8th in greens in regulation, 29th in driving accuracy, 17th in strokes gained around the green. So he's up there in all of the categories that you want to be up there for a test like Valderrama. So Wiesberger's in for me. The other one, Richard Bland. Just how well is he playing this year in the form of his life, up to 78 in the world rankings now, a win and 7 top 10s in his last 15 events. Top 10s the last couple of weeks as well. The tied 4th at the Dunhill Links, tied 9th last week in Madrid. I know you mentioned bogey avoidance, another good stat to have a look at this week. 2nd on the European Tour in that. Also inside the top 20 in driving accuracy, greens in reg, scrambling and putts per GIR. So when he gets it on the greens, he's pretty effective as well. He's a bit more aggressive with his putting these days. And that.
Yeah, just a little bit to add on the Richard Bland thing. I was at the Wisley with him a couple of weeks ago, and he was just doing like a little money match with the Euro Pro lads. He shot 9 under, took their money. And it was like, and I was speaking to a few of the members there, and he won their Pro-Am. They have their Pro-Am's unbelievable, the members they have at the Wisley. And they just said he's playing good golf all the time. It's just, you know, you talk about form. He's maintained it incredibly well since the British Masters. You know, he could have so easily have gone and finally done it. But his consistency, like you've said, is quite phenomenal. And I mean, all he's got to do is win again, because everything else, he's ticked all the boxes, hasn't he? Yeah. So totally in on the Richard Bland also.
He's been superb. You can see the confidence just flowing through him. And like, you know, it might be that this is the type of course that historically you'd go, well, if Blandy's going to have a good week, it needs to be somewhere like here because he's not the longest or whatever. But he's proven this year that when you're playing good golf and your confidence is high, kind of similar to what you said to Rahm, where you might not necessarily say a strategic course would necessarily suit him completely. But when you're playing good golf and your confidence is high, it doesn't matter what the course is, you're going to shoot low numbers. And Blandy is the perfect example of that at the moment. He's been brilliant all year and I'm loving watching it and I think it will continue. My third pick I put up was Thomas Pieters. Obviously a 4-time European Tour winner, hasn't been at his best the last 3 or 4 years probably, but actually quietly putting together quite a good season and getting back towards his best form. Last 4 tournaments have yielded a couple of tied 9th and a tied 18th, 6 top 20s earlier in the season as well as that. And also surprisingly accurate. Like, he's known as a bit of a bomber, but he's 22nd in driving accuracy and 23rd in greens in regulation. Also 18th in strokes gained around the green. I've got to be honest, when I was doing my research for this, those numbers surprised me a little bit. I thought, you know, Pieters is going to be on my list. He's been playing well. I like him. I think that win's coming. But I thought, well, I'll have a look at his stats. This might not be the week for him. I didn't think it would necessarily suit him. Those stats really surprised me with the level of accuracy. And it's the putter that has held him back a little bit. And that is improving. I think the 5th win is coming soon for Pieters. I think he is getting back to somewhere near that form that saw him win 4 times, get into the Ryder Cup, be touted as a potential future world number 1. I think good things are coming for Pieters. So I've gone with him as well. So I've got those 3 plus Rahm, who you've said. And I'm still a little bit, for the other 2, I'm still a little bit unsure. I mean, there's a guy we've not even mentioned.
Are you thinking big? Because, I mean, you've got, well, big as in this field. You've got Bob Mack, who at the beginning of the year, he was finding his way into teams like in Rolex series, wasn't he? You know,
he's missed what, the last 5 cuts, is it he's missed?
Yeah. So I know who played with him at the Dunhill. Somebody I know played with him at the Dunhill, one of the amateurs, and he just said he's over golfed. That's what he said to him. Played too much golf. Matt Fitzpatrick.
Well, that's the man I was about to say we've not even mentioned. Yeah. And I'm really struggling weighing him up this week. I think he's second favourite with the bookies behind Jon Rahm. So, and you know, class in this field, no doubt. But his form hasn't been great. And he's only been to Valderrama once in a European Tour event and missed the cut. Mm-hmm. Now, Jon Rahm missed the cut on his first visit here and then finished second on his second visit. So that happens. It's not unusual around Valderrama to miss the cut and then bounce back with a really good result the second or third time, once you kind of work the place out a little bit. But I'm struggling with Fitzy this week. I kind of want to put him in just because he's Matt Fitzpatrick. And in my head, this should be a great test for him. Valderrama should suit him really well. Where are you with Fitzy right now?
So I'd done mine, right? And I've got 5, and last night I'd put Fitzy in, and then I looked this morning and I'm like, shall I put him out? So at the minute I'm going Rahm, Bland, Andrew Johnson, Wiesberger, and then I've kind of got the 2 left, so Mateo Schwab probably, and then it's like Justin Harding, who is my kind of I like him. I always kind of whack him in. But then I've got that one. But then I'm thinking to myself, Fitzpatrick's going to beat John Catlin, isn't he? Fitzpatrick's going to be, you know, I'm trying to, and then I don't know. That's my one, same as you, where I'm just unsure, because the amount of times that I go, I'm just going to go with the big name and whack him in. But I don't know. Like this this Ryder Cup, there's always a couple of players that really struggle after the Ryder Cup, or they're all right. And the rumour has it he was playing really well at the Ryder Cup, but he wasn't, he didn't score that great. And I don't know.
I'm thinking and hoping that the pressure of the Ryder Cup and the build up to it, because it was a big thing for him to get into the team and be there, as it was for obviously a lot of players, but because of what happened the first time around the Ryder Cup with him, where again he didn't have a great go at Hazeltine, he really wanted to get in and prove something. Now, okay, he got in and he didn't have the best time again. You could argue the Westwood foursomes pairing wasn't the best, that on paper didn't work in my mind, but hindsight's a wonderful thing. I think it might have lifted something off of his shoulders a little bit, and I think we'll see a bit more freedom. I think he was playing this summer under the pressure of defending place in the Ryder Cup because he was there in the standings. With that gone, I'm hoping and thinking we'll see him back to his European Tour winning best. So I think I will go with Fitzy.
He's also got Billy Foster on the bag. Billy Foster on the bag. He would have had it at Valderrama loads and will love it. He'll love Valderrama. So that's maybe just put something in my mind to go, that's what I'm saying. I just can't. When I compare Fitzy to other players, I'm like, well, he's going to beat them. He's going to beat them. He's going to beat them. And we just need somebody like him to just push on, don't we, in the Ryder Cup? This will be he's played 2 now. Where's the bit where he pushes on? And like you say,
he needs to get himself top 25, top 20 in the world, start contending or getting himself in the mix in majors, those kind of level events. We know he can do it on the European Tour, 2-time DP World Tour Championship winner, very good when he gets in contention. Needs to start doing it on a more regular basis, bigger events. I think he's got that in him. I really do. I love Matt Fitzpatrick. He's a great player. So hopefully he can. And just glancing at a few of the names who we kind of either haven't mentioned or haven't put in. So Martin Keimer, in and out this year, but a strong record at Valderrama. Was runner-up, has a 6th place there as well. Last week's winner, Rafa Cabrera-Bello. Could he do a Spanish double? Adrianaus, who lost in the playoff, has a runner-up finish at Valderrama as well. Perhaps on paper, not best suited to the course. I think he's 171st in driving accuracy. But obviously has proved he can do it at Valderrama previously. Jamie Donaldson's a name who I quite like at Valderrama. I think he suits it quite well. Who else have I got marked down there? Shubhankar Sharma's coming in really good form. Not a great record here, though. Miscuts in his 2 visits to Valderrama. So like you were saying, even though Shubhankar Sharma's in really good form, maybe he just doesn't quite like or fancy Valderrama. That took me away from him. And another guy who I've looked at not in my top 6, but only just not in my top 6, and maybe a little bet, Joost Luiten.
Yes, that was
really good form at Valderrama. So he has finished 2nd there twice, tied 11th, tied 20th, and tied 52nd in the 5 events that we mentioned have been there the last 5 years. He's been there every year. Not many have. So he obviously loves the place. 2 runners up, the 11th, 20th, 52nd. Okay, he's not coming in the best form, but he's been all right this season. He's sort of been there or thereabouts a lot. He's finished 10th to 30th a lot this year. Yeah. Maybe coming in somewhere he really loves. He has those good memories like Valderrama.
Amazon. 1 second. Hello? Oh, sorry, Amazon.
I was going to say, did they give you any tips for Valderrama this week?
Funnily enough.
I think Luiten is a great sort of outside bet this week because he's coming in under the radar because his form hasn't been great, but he absolutely loves Valderrama. So I'm almost tempted to stick Luiten. It's between Luiten and Schwab, I'm going to say, for my 6th spot. And it's whether I want to go safe in terms of good form and a good fit in Schwab, but I think a fair few people will have him. Or do you go, well, Luiten, he likes it round there, not been in great form. Perhaps not loads of people will have him. I'll chuck him in. So it's tight. And there's one other guy who I'm just going to mention his name, and I'm not going to, or 2 actually, who I think are trending in the right direction. I don't think many people will have thought about this week, and that's Adrian Otaegui. gradually better in his last 3 starts. Spanish, has played Valderrama a lot, has a reasonable record there. And Fabrizio Zanotti, who's a good player, not the longest. This is the type of track that suits him. He's shown a little bit of form the last few weeks. I don't think many guys will be looking at Otegi or Zanotti, but I think they're not going to make my 6. But if you're looking for a bit of a differentiator and a player you could chuck in there that not many will have, who could have a good week this week, I'd chuck those 2 names in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a fit, isn't there? It's a similar type of, well, it's just when you think Spanish golf courses. So it's not dissimilar to what we were looking at in Madrid. So it's that type of player, which is why, if people want to put Rafa in, totally understand that. But yeah, I think one thing you do want to do, you want to watch it. I've checked the weather this week. It's gorgeous down in Soto Grande. There's not too much wind as it gets to the weekend. There's a little bit bouncing around earlier on in the week. But yeah, this course on Instagram already, like the players are just going, look at this. These fairways are like carpets and it's going to look in great condition. So if it does get a little bit miserable here over the weekend, then watch that. So you can watch Spain and then you can watch New York because that's where the Aramco series is for the LA.
Wish you were there.
I know I'm not there, everybody, which is really
both. Well, I mean, Spain or New York, I'd have to take. Just quickly, captain this week. So I went John Rahm last week, as many people did. Rahm, of course, a lot of people will go as captain this week, and absolutely why not? He's the world #1, and he finished second at Valderrama the last time he played there. But I think if you are looking, and we're getting towards the end of the season, you might need to make a big move to leap ahead of a few people in your private leagues or whatever. Whereas a lot of people will be going for John Rahm, I think this week is a good week not to have him as captain. Right. Because I can see him doing well, but not winning, if you see what I mean. I think
who's winning
if you
then?
want to be brave. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say Thomas Pieters. Do you know what?
Okay.
I honestly think it's coming, and it's a lot closer than people might think. I looked at his stats. I'm so impressed by what he's doing statistically at the moment. If he can keep his head on, I think he could do it. So whoever your sort of one that you fancy the most, what Rahm is, I think this is a good gamble week because a lot of people are going to be siding with Rahm as captain. So you can get a difference there. And I think, it's a good week to do that. Take a bit of a chance. We're getting towards the end of the season. And Valderrama's the type of course that can throw up a little bit of a surprise. Stick a Joost Luiten in there as a captain. See what happens.
Right. I'm just going to end it with doing a couple of shout outs on the points. So last week's points winner was Dennis Visa. He got 1,449. And the leader of it all is Ian Trout on 29,571. But he only leads by 1 point. 1 point.
Wow.
Over everybody. So, captains are really important. They're double points. And I think probably that's why last week we all struggled because, like you say, everybody captained him. But it would take a very brave person not to go with Rahm. So I think I just can't see Rahm out of my team. I can't pick 5 other people that are going to beat John Rahm. I was shocked to see him fall back last week, and Rahm's good at bouncing back. And this is my week that he bounces back. And he also loves to do like stuff that Sergio and Seve have done. And in a way, he's already done the Spanish Open. So he needs this one.
He does.
Right, everybody, thank you for watching. Let us know who you're picking, especially captain, because this could be quite interesting. Enjoy the golf, and I'll see you again soon. See you later, Kit.
Bye.